Good day, everyone. Today I am going to discuss about postmodern and contemporary literature from 1945 up to the present, and also the story about the Tiger's Bride by Angela Carter later on. So, this period of literature reflects the changing ideas, experiences, and realities of people after World War II up to modern society today. So, as the first reporter, I will introduce what is postmodern and contemporary literature all about. So, first, let's define what is postmodern literature. So, postmodern literature is a literary period that developed because of rapid technological advancement, globalization, and changes in society. So, pasabot ani, habang nagka-moderno na ang kalibutan o nag-uswag na pud ang technology, naapektuhan usab ang style sa og ideas sa literature. So unlike sa traditional literature, uh, postmodern literature does not focus on one absolute meaning or kanang absolute meaning or one correct interpretation only. Instead, it emphasizes playfulness, fragmentation, metafiction, and intersexuality. So, sa simple nga explanation, ang story sa postmodern literature, usahay dili diretso ang flow. Mahimong mix ang timeline or usahay usahay more confusing ang kuan ang kanang intention bitaw aron manaw na ang sa readers. So, this literary movement became popular during the late 1950s and early of 1960s so after sa World War II. So, because of the tragic events and human rights violations during the war, so many writers started questioning truth, morality, and even reality itself. So, mao nga maong daghang authors wala na mituo nga adunay usa lang ka universal truth universal truth or fixed meaning sa life o sa society. So postmodern literature is also considered as kanang reaction against enlightenment thinking and modernist ideas kay ang mga modernist writers manggod kay were searching for order and meaning, while ang postmodern writer, they believe that reality can be different depending on a person's perspective. So, in other words, para sa postmodernism, dili parihas ang reality sa tanan kay lain-lain man og experience and also pagtan-aw sa mga tawo. Nga na bitaw. So, another important characteristic of postmodern literature is the use of fragmented narratives and unreliable narrators. So, this means the story may not follow a normal sequence and sometimes the narrator may not be fully truthful or reliable. So, authors also use referential techniques or metafiction where the story becomes aware that it is only a story. So, murag, ang book mismo kabalo nga fictional siya nga na bitaw and then which makes the readers question what is real and what is constructed. So, overall, ang postmodern literature literature challenges the traditional storytelling and encourages readers to think critically about identity, truth, and reality. And then now let's move on to the contemporary literature. So, contemporary literature reflects the difficulties, concerns, and realities present in the modern society. So, meaning, mga stories o literary works ani nga period connected kayo sa mga issues o experiences nga atong makita hangtod karon here in real world. So, it it explores different topics such as identity, race or ethnicity, mga gender, social class, politics, and technology. So, pananglitan, daghang contemporary works na nag-isgot about discrimination, feminism, poverty, mental health, social media, ingana, ug mga uban pang mga modern issues na relevant sa present generation. And then, another important characteristic of contemporary literature is that uh, often challenges traditional belief. So, I mean, it often challenges traditional beliefs and values also. So writers are not afraid to discuss sensitive or controversial topics. So mao nang usahay ang mga stories mahimong shocking, very emotional, or naboy uban uncomfortable because they reflect the real problems happening in society. So contemporary literature also encourage readers to question their own beliefs. Pwede po lahang mga assumptions and lahang mga ka na. And then sa to pa ginapahuna nilang mga readers there is sa contemporary kung sakto ba gyud ilang pananaw sa society or di ba kaya sa culture or even the other people. So it allows people to face the uncomfortable realities of the modern world instead of kanang simply escaping from them. So in addition, there is a contemporary literature. It is a broad term that includes literary works produced from the mid 20th century up to the present day. So, since society continuously changes, so contemporary literature also changes depending on the current events and social issues. So, very dynamic kayo siya nga literature because it involves together with time and human experiences. So, here's a contemporary, most contemporary works reflect the cultural, social, and political condition of today's world. So, common themes includes globalization, technology, environmental issues, mga identity. So, for example, many modern authors write about climate change. So, moto, ngana, and the effects of technology or di ba kaya human life. So, uh, because of this are kaya mo man yung mga pinaka kanang importante nga issues nga in today's generation. So, this contemporary literature nag-serve siya as a mirrors of kanang modern society because it represents the experiences, the struggles, and the realities of people living in the present times. Us living in the present times. And then now let's us proceed to the historical background of postmodern and contemporary literature. So the first one is the aftermath of World War II, so beginning in 1945 onwards. So after the war, so many countries experienced destruction, trauma, poverty, and emotional suffering. So million of people namatay and many lost trust in the governments, institutions, and even humanity itself. So tungod sa kadlok o kalisod nga nahitabo during the war, daghang tawo nagsugod og pangutana kung tinuod ba gyud nga uh, ang progress, ang science, ang mga technological advancement makahatag ba og better future. So before World War II, many people believed that society was continuously improving because of technology. And then, however, the war showed that despite progress and intelligence, humans were still capable of violence and destruction. So mao nga nawad-an og full confidence ang mga tawo sa traditional beliefs ug sa idea nga naay perfect truth or system nga makasolve sa tanang sa kalibutan, problema sa kalibutan. And then because of this, skepticisms become one of the main ideas of postmodernism. Ang skepticism means kanang pagduda ba or questioning sa accepted beliefs. So, or even the authority of universal truths. So writers began creating stories that reflected confusion, uncertainty, and different perspective about kanang reality and society. And then second is reaction against modernisms, late 1940s to 1960. So here, postmodern developed as a response against modernist literature, and then Modernist writers believe in order, logic, structure, and the search of universal truth or meaning in life. Sa modernism, murag na mga naay pagtuo nga pinaagi sa rason o logic, pinaagi sa reason og logic. So mahimong mas masabtan ang world ug ang human experience. And then, however, postmodern writers challenge these ideas. So they believe that ang reality daw is subjective and can differ from one person to another. So para sa postmodernism, walay single absolute truth jud kay lain-lain man og perspective, lain-lain mag culture o experiences ang mga tawo. So that's why postmodern literature often contains fragmented stories, mga multiple interpretation, irony, and unconventional structures. So instead of giving clear answer, it encourages readers to think critically and question nga what is real or sa tinuod. So in short, ang postmodernism nga is wala siya naghatag og fixed meaning. Uh, ginapakita nini nga ang reality mahimong complicated o open for different interpretation. And then the next one is Cold War and political tension 1947 to 1991. So during this period, the world experienced conflict between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. So although there was no direct large-scale war between them, there was a constant fear because of the nuclear weapons. So yun ka. So and also political computations and ideological differences. So tungod ani daghang tawo ang nagpuyo nga nagkahadlok, anxiety ug uncertainty about sa future. So the Cold War also caused distrust in governments and political systems. So people began questioning about kanang authority, propaganda, and the truth presented by those nga mga nasa power. And then mao nga naapektuhan usab ang literature kay daghang writers nagsugod og explore sa themes about fear, control, manipulation, og uncertainty sa society. And then different social movements also became active during this time, such as movements for civil rights, mga nana, and also feminisms, freedom of speech, and anti-war protests. So these movements encourage people nga i-challenge ang traditional systems and beliefs. So because of this, postmodern literature became more critical and more open to different perspective and voices in society. And then another important historical background is the rise of mass media and consumer culture from 1950s to the 1980s. So during any nga time, television, film, advertisements, magazines, and other forms of popular culture became very influential in people's daily life, guys. So na books of traditional education ra mostly ang source of information. Pero pag-abot sa mass media, dali na kayo ma-influence ang opinion o lifestyle sa mga tao. So postmodern thinkers believe that media has a strong power in shaping people's understanding of reality and then identity, even truths. So meaning usahay dili na mahibaw-an kung tinuod ba gyud ang usa ka ang usahay mahibaw-an nato nga kung unsa ang tinuod ug unsa ang influence lang. So sa media pwede po sa advertisement or even in popular culture. So because of consumer culture, society also became more focused on products, entertainment, and image. So this influenced postmodern literature to include references to televisions, movies, advertisements, and pop culture in their work. So manang daghang postmodern stories nga playful, ironic, or mixed with elements gikan sa popular media because it reflects the modern society shaped by mass communication and consumerism. And then next is the technological scientific advancement. So mid 20th century onwards. So during this period, the world experienced rapid developments in science, technology, transportation, communication. So the inventions of computer, the internet, diri na. So modern machines and advanced media greatly change the way people live in and interact with one another. So mas paspas na ang communication, dali na makakuha og information o mas connected na ang different countries tungod sa globalization. So because of this advancement, human experiences also changed quickly. People became exposed to different cultures, ideas, and lifestyles from around the world. So tungod ani mas tagadaghan ang perspective ug opinion sa society, which also influence literature. And then postmoderns reflects this fast-changing fragmented worldview. So writers began creating stories that are nonlinear, experimental, and sometimes chaotic to represent the complexity of the modern life. So sa simple nga pamagi, and simple terms, so ang fragmented style sa postmodern literature murag reflections sa kalibutan nga paspas kayo ang pagbag-o o puno sa mixed information experiences. And then another important is the mass media and consumer culture. So here is kanang okay, mali. So dili ni siya rise of media and consumer culture, sorry. My bad. Ano ni siya kanang rise of social movements such as civil rights movements, feminism, gender equality, and freedom of expression. So from 1950s up to the present, dili ni siya rise of medias and consumer culture. Sorry. So the are this movement challenged the traditional uh, social structures and discriminations in society. So uh, daghang groups of people nga nangayog equal rights, freedom, ang uban recognition regardless sa lahang race, and then gender, and then social status. So because of this, literature became more diverse and inclusive. So writers from different cultures, genders, and backgrounds were finally given opportunity to express their voices and experiences. So maong contemporary literature karon maong ang counter ang ang contemporary literature karon is dili na lang focus sa one type of perspective, mas daghan ng stories about women, minorities, apil na ang mga LGBTQ communities o mga marginalized group. And then also these social movements encourage literature to become more open in discussing sensitive issues such as racism, sexism, inequality, identity, and human rights. So, as a result, literature became uh, not only form of entertainment but also a way of raising awareness and promoting social change in society. So now we are done with the historical background. Let us proceed the key characteristic of the postmodern literature. So the first one is the randomness. So one of the main ideas of postmodern literature is the rejection of absolute meaning. So this means that postmodern writers do not believe that there is only one truth or there is only one correct interpretation or one universal truth in a story. So, para sa mga postmodernism, ang meaning mahimong magdepende lang sa perspective o understanding sa ka-reader. So, depende niya. So, because of this, postmodern literature often embraces disorder, uh, confusion, and randomness. So, stories may not follow a normal structure or clear sequence of events. Usahay ang plot murag gubot, mix ang timeline, then usapod nice sense nga murag walay direct connection but there is intentional. So ingon ana lang. And then another technique commonly used is the unreliable narrator. So this means that the narrator may not always tell the truth or may present information based only on personal opinions and emotions. So tungod ani, maglibog usayang readers kung unsa gyud tinuod nga nahitabo sa story. And then instead of giving readers clear answers, postmodern literature encourages them to think critically and create their own interpretation. So, in short, ang randomness sa postmodern literature nagpakita nga ang life reality mismo mahimong uncertain o complicated. Complicated. And then the second one is the characteristic in use of black humor. So, here in modernist literature, the loss of order and meaning was often presented as something painful and tragic. So, however, postmodern writers respond differently. So, instead of seriously mourning the loss of order, so they often make fun of it through humor and irony. So, manang daghang postmodern works nga na ay dark jokes o funny situation bisan seryoso ang topic. So, black humor refers to humor that deals with serious, painful, or disturbing subjects such as death, war, suffering, or di ba kaya tragedy. So, although sensitive ang topic, gigamit gihapon siya sa authors aron ipakita ang absurdity or irony sa life. And then, postmodern writers also use wordplay, irony, sarcasm, and playful language to confuse or surprise i-surprise ang mga readers. And then sometimes the story itself becomes exaggerated or absurd. And then ang purpose ani kay para ipakita nga ang world dili siya always organized or logical. O usahay kinahanglan na lang nato tanawon ang chaos pinagi sa humor. So yeah, black humor in postmodern literature help writers discuss serious realities in a very unique and ironic and also unconventional way. And then now let's proceed to the uh, next characteristic, which is the fragmentation. So fragmentation means that the story is not presented in a smooth, linear, or complete structure. Instead, it is broken into parts and many jump from one scene, time, or place to another dayon. So in simple term, dili mo siya straight story from the beginning to end, kundi murag putol-putol or mix bitaw ang arrangement sa events. And then, unlike modernist literature, which is also based fragmentation but in a more structured way, so postmodern literature takes it farther by using collage style, storytelling, yan na bitaw, and then temporal distortion, and then sudden shifts in characters and settings. So, mo siyang puzzle nga na mga pieces kay lain-lain og kinahanglan pa nimo himuon kanang ano ba og kinahanglan pa himuon og kuan like para masabtan para kinahanglan pa nimo himuon og meaning. So mura siya og puzzle nga pieces kay lain-lain og kinahanglan pa nimo himuan og meaning ana or himuan og meaning sa reader. So this style reflects complexity and fast-changing nature of modern life kay sa real world dili man pud always organize ang atong experiences. So mosud na iyahang gipakita sa literature. And then the fourth one is metafiction. So metafiction is a technique where the story becomes aware that it is a story. So postmodern writers intentionally show the artificial nature of their work so that readers are reminded that what they are reading is fictional. So, meaning, ginapakita sa author nga, this is just a story, dili ni siya real life. And then, this often blurs the line between reality and fiction. Kay some stories may even directly talk the reader or refer to the process of writing itself. So, murag, ang story mismo kabalo nga siya kay fiction, which makes it more interesting and confusing at the same time. And then the purpose of metafiction is to challenge readers' expectation and to make them think about how story is created and how meaningful, or I mean, how meaning is formed. So ingon ana. And then the next one is the intersexuality. This is the last characteristic of postmodern. So it refers to the way a literary works connects or references other texts. So this can include allusions to classic literature, popular culture, myths, math, myths, myth, films, or even other works by the same author. So sa Bisaya, murag usa ka story nga mo connect or mo reference siya sa laing stories or ideas gikan sa ubang nga sources. Ingon na ba? So, these references are often used in a playful, creative, or even ironic way. So, instead of being isolated, so texts are connected to a larger network of meanings. So, meaning ang usa ka story dili siya uh, standalone, kundi part siya sa bigger conversations sa literary or culture. And then overall, intersexuality shows that literature is interconnected and that meaning can be shaped by other texts and cultural influences. Okay, now let's proceed to the notable authors and literary work of postmodern literature. The first one is Catch 22 by Joseph Hitler. So, kaning nga novel is a satirical story ni siya about World War II that focuses on the absurdity of war and military bureaucracy. So, meaning, ginapakita niya ang usa ka nonsensical, confusing ang rules sa military systems during war. So, it follows the experiences of a U.S. Army Air Force Bomber Squadron. So, especially sa Captain Yusurian, who desperately tries to survive the war. So, however, he is trapped in the Catch-22 situation, an impossible rule where a soldier cannot be considered insane if he willingly continues flying dangerous missions. So, sa gusto niya nga mundang, di siya pwede kay that proves he is sane. So, the story is told in a non-linear way, jumping between events and gradually revealing information which add to the confusions of absurdity of war. So, the second work is The French Lieutenant Woman by John Fowles. So, John Fowles famously breaks the fourth wall to address the readers directly, inviting them to choose between two different endings to the novel. So, kaning nga novel is about ni siya sa Victorian era love story involving the gentleman named Charles and a mysterious woman named Sarah Woodruff, so who is known as the French Lieutenant's Woman. So, what makes this novel postmodern kay the author breaks the fourth wall and directly speaks to the reader. So, murag ang author mismo mosulod sa story o makiistorya sa reader. So, it also offers multiple possible endings, allowing readers to imagine different outcomes of the characteristic lives. So, this challenged the idea that a story must have only one fixed ending. And then, the third notable works is Pale Fire by Vladimir Nabokov. So this novel is presented as a commentary on a fictional poem, blurring the lines between reality and narrator's interpretation. So this novel is structured in a very unusual way. So it is presented in a 999 line poem written by a fictional poet named John Shade. So, along with detailed commentary written by other characters, Charles Kimbo. So, however, the commentary slowly becomes more important than a poem itself. So, uh, can boast interpretation is questionable and unreliable, mao nga ang reader ma-confuse kung kinsa gyud ang tinuod og asa ang sakto nga meaning sa story. So the story themes of obsession, identity, and unreliable narrations, making readers question what is real and what is only interpretation. So yes, overall, this work shows experimental nature of postmodern literature through satire, metafiction, and multiple layers of meaning. And then now let's proceed to the key characteristic of contemporary literature. So the first one is explore complex issues. So contemporary literature often focuses on complicated and real-world issues that people are currently experiencing in modern society. Pasabot, ani, ang mga stories karon dili lang siya about romance or fantasy, kundi uh, naa na gyud siya kanang connection sa actual problems sa kalibutan. So it discusses topics such as climate change, inequality, racism, poverty, politics, mental health, and many more social issues. So mo ni ang mga issues nga ato makita or ma-experience karon sa atong generation. So mas relatable siya sa readers. And then contemporary works reflects how complex modern life is. So here, dili na siya simple or black and white, kundi full of challenges, conflicts, or real life struggles sa tawag sa society. So because of this, readers are encouraged to think critically and become more aware of the problems and happening around them. And then the second characteristic is focus on diverse voices and perspective. So voices, direct focuses on direct voices and perspective. So here, contemporary literature gives importance to different voices and experiences. So especially those from marginalized or under represented groups. Pasabot ani dili na lang usa ka klase sa story or perspective ang makita, kundi daghan na kayo lain-lain nga voices gikan sa mga different backgrounds. So this includes stories from different cultures, genders, social classes, ethnicities, and identities. Apil na diri ang voices sa women, LGBTQ, community, minorities, o uban pang groups nga dili kayo mapakita sa literature. And then the goal of contemporary literature here is to create a more exclusive and realistic understanding of human experiences. So mao nga mas open siya o mas diverse kay ang kalibutan mismo karon is diverse man pud kayo. And then yes, contemporary literature helps readers makasabot that every person has a unique story, and then perspective also. So these different voices are important in shaping societies and culture. And then now let's continue to the next key characteristic of contemporary literature. So the third characteristic is relatable and realistic characters. So here, it focuses on characteristics that feel real, and then kanang natural and relatable sa readers. Pasabutan ni ang mga characters dili ni siya super perfect or unrealistic, kundi more tinod na nga tao nga na flaws, struggles, o emotions. Nga na. So because contemporary works often deals with social issues and real life situations. So the characters also reflects the experiences of ordinary people in a modern society. So makita nato diri ang struggle sa pamilya, sa love life, sa financial problems, sa mental health issues, so uban pang real life challenges ang atong maagian pod sa atong daily life. And then this makes contemporary literature easier to connect with because readers can see themselves or people they know in the characters. And then the fourth key characteristic is experimental narratives and gender hybridity. So here, it often uses non-traditional storytelling techniques. Pasabot ani dili siya always straight or chronological ang story. Many works are non-linear, many events may not be told or mixed or unusual order. So some stories also multiple narrators and perspectives. So creating what we call a polyphony of voices. So, mura siya og daghang tawo ang nagsulti sa story, gikan sa lain brief points. So, mas complex ug mas rich ang meaning. And then, in terms of genre, contemporary literature also mixes different styles together. For example, a story can be combined romance, then science fiction, then drama, and then mystery all in one na siya dayon. Then, mo nang unique kaayo siya kay walay limit ang creativity sa author. And the fifth characteristic is self-reflexivity and metafiction. So, kani, nag-explore siya the relationships between the author, the text, and the readers. So, similar to postmodernism, it uses metafictions where story becomes aware that it is a story. So, murag ang story mismo kabalo nga fictional na siya. And then some works directly comment on the process of storytelling, while others may even break the fourth wall where characters speak to the reader. So meaning ang reader kay ma-involve siya sa story kay murag appeal siya sa conversation. And then these techniques makes readers think more deeply about kanang how stories are created and how meaning is formed. So yes, all of this it shows that literature is not just about storytelling but also about questioning how stories themselves works. So sorry. Okay, now let's proceed to the notable author of and works of the contemporary literature. So the first work is uh, Kaffa on the Shore. So, kani siya nga novel is a surreal and symbolic stories that follows two main characters, si Kaffa Tamura, a teenage boy who runs away from home, and then Nakata, an elderly man who has lost part of his memory after a strange childhood incident. So, duha ka characters nga lain kayo line of life pero somehow ilang stories connected as the novel progresses. So here Kafka is trying to escape a dark prophecy in his life, which is similar to the Oedipus story, if you still remember, where the son tries to avoid the fate involving his parents. So ingon ana, meanwhile Nakata can communicate with cats and is drawn into mysterious events that he does not fully understand. Mao ni ang typical nga style sa kuan, mix of realities, fantasy ug mystery nga murag dreamlike ang atmosphere bitaw. So as their journeys continues, their paths slowly begin to intersect, and then revealing deeper themes about identity, fate, memory, and unknown. So, ang kaning novel nag-explore siya how people deal with confusion, loneliness, and the search for meaning in a strange world. So, a famous quote from the novel says here, and once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through. So, how you managed to survive. So, kani, daw, is, uh, but one thing is certain. I mean, a famous quote from the novel says daw nga, once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, blah, blah, blah. But one thing is certain. When you come out through the storm, you won't be the same person you walk in. Diba? So this quotes shows one of the main ideas of contemporary literature that experiences, especially difficult ones, changes in personal deeply meaning and challenges sa life. So makapausab yun nato and we never come out the same after going through struggles. Diba? Pagkaman sa kwan, we're different. Char. So the second work is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. 2014. So this is a very popular contemporary poetry collection written in a simple but powerful style. So dili ni siya traditional long poems kundi short, direct, and very emotional nga poems nga dali ra ma-relate sa readers. So this book is divided into four sections, and each section focuses on different stages of emotional and personal experiences in life. So ang first section ani is the hearting, which talks about the pain, the trauma, the difficult experiences. There makita ang struggle sa life like emotional pain, abuse, and heartbreak. And then the second section of this is the loving, so which focuses on love, relationships, and intimacy. So mani ang part nga makita ang feelings of affection, connections, and emotional bonding. And then the third section ani is the breaking, which explores loss, separations, and emotional breakdowns. So there makita ang mga moments nga nasakitan kayo ang tao tungod sa pagkawala or pag-break sa relationships. And then the last section is the healing, so which shows recovery, self-love, and personal growth. So there makita kung giun sa pagbangon sa katawo after sa pain and struggles. So yes, all of them, the whole collection is about themes of violence, loss, femininity, and love, showing the emotional journey of healing and self-discovery. So mo ni siya ang reason nga nung relatable kayo ang book kay nag-represent siya og real emotions nga ato ma-experience as a human pod. And then the third work is Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. Mr. Mercedes, 2014. So this novel is a crime and detective story that is part of Bill Hodges trilogy. So ang focus ani nga book kay mystery, investigation, o psychological tension. So the story follows a retired detective named Bell Hodge, who is pulled back into action after receiving a disturbing message from a serial killer known as the Mercedes Killer. So the killer is reasonable for a tragic attack where he drives the stolen Mercedes into a crowd of job seekers and waiting outside job appear early in the morning. So mo ang main crime nga gi-investigate sa story. And then as the story continues, Bill Hodges tries to track down the killer before he can strike again. So leading a psychological battle between detective and criminal. And then the novel explores themes of justice, obsession, trauma, and lastly morality. So makita dire ang struggle between good and evil, o kung unsa ka complex ang human mind. And then Stephen King also adds a dark and realistic tone of the story, showing how violence and crime affect both victims and investigators emotionally and mentally. So here, a quote from a book: "Every religion lies. Every moral precept is a delusion. The truth is darkness." So these quotes reflect the darker philosophical ideas in novel, showing a pessimistic view of life and history. So meaning sa history gi-question ang beliefs, morality, o even ang idea of truth itself. So which makes it more complex and provoking. Okay, now let's proceed to the biography of the author. So, okay, so this is Angela Carter, and okay, ang full name niya is Angela Olive Stalker. Yung piname ra is Angela Carter. So, was an English novelist, short story writer, journalist, and essayist po na siya. She was born on May 7, 1940 at Eastbourne, England. And then later in her career, she became widely known as yung pin name, Angela Carter. So one of the most influential postmodern and feminist writer in contemporary literature. So eskwela siya sa University of Bristol, where she initially focused on English literature. So after pagka-graduate niya, nagtrabaho siya as journalist and began developing her distinctive writing styles, and then which often combines fantasy, gothic elements, mythology, feminist themes. So mo ang styles, creative kayo, dark, o kanang full of symbolic meanings. So Here, Angela Carter is best known for her works that challenges traditional ideas about gender, power, and storytelling. So, she often rewrote classic fairy tales in darker and more modern versions. So, ginaano na niya, ginabuhat na niya, and then giving strong and complex rules to female characters na dayon. And then, some of her notable works include here, The Bloody Chamber, Nights at the Circus, and A Wise Children. So this works explores the themes such as identity, sexuality, freedom, and the role of women in a society. And then also she was considered as a key figure of postmodern and feminist literature because she questioned traditional narratives and reshaped familiar stories into something new and uh, thought-provoking. So Moto. And then also, Angela Carter passed away sa atong February 16, 1992, but her works still continues to influence modern writers and literary studies karon. So, hangtod karon yung mga writers, importante kayo. And then, importante kayo sa studies sa mga postmodernism o feminism kay na siya unique way of telling stories that challenge normal thinking jud. So, moto siya. Okay, now let's proceed to the formless analysis of The Tiger's Bride by Angela Carter. So, let's start with the characters. So, the first character is the Beast or the Tiger or also known as Beast Lord. So, Kani, he is a mysterious and wealthy creature who lives in an isolation away from society. So, marag siya identity kay ambot. Pagbasa na ko kay mo siya half human o half animals. And then nag-wear siya mask to appear. He wears a mask to appear human. So which symbolizes desires to hide his true nature and accept and be accepted sa human society. And then the second character is the father. So he portrayed here as the careless and selfish gambler. So makita diri nga wala siya responsibility as a father. So he loses his daughter Annie in a card game to the beast, showing how he treats even his own child as a form of transaction or possession. And then the next one is the maid, mechanical maid or automaton. Automaton. So she is a lifelike mechanical servant found in the beast house, meaning hindi siya tinood na tao, but acts like one. So she represents artificiality and the idea of humans being uh, treated like objects or machines. And then the fourth one is the horse. So this is the narrator's horse, so which shows loyalty and emotional connections. So sa story, ang horse kay simbolo sa trust ag companionship before uh, enters sa peace worlds. And then it highlights ito nga it highlights ito the contrast between natural loyalty and the strange artificial world inside the beast mansion. Okay, now let's proceed to the settings. So the story is set into two main places. So the first is the gambling town, which is in Italy. So this place represents human societies where greed, risk, selflessness are present. Mo ni ang lugar nga kung asa nga man sa narrator sige sugal, which shows moral corruptions and lack of responsibility. And then the second one is the base isolated place uh, palace. In a cold, snowy region. So this place is far away from the society and feels mysterious, quiet, and unnatural. So murag lain kayo siya og atmosphere. Cold, isolated, and almost dreamlike or surreal. Ingana. So now let's proceed to the plot of the story. So now starting with the exposition. So the story begin in Italy where the girl narrator lives with her irresponsible and gambling addicted father. So makita diri nga ang iyang father kay walay klarong responsibility o puro sugal ra ang Atiman. So after losing all his wealth in a card game, the father goes even farther and recklessly gambles his own daughter. So unfortunately, pildi siya. So he loses her to a mysterious he loses her to a mysterious mass base. So money ang pinaka-shocking part sa beginning kay ang yung anak gitrato niya murag property bitaw or object na pwede ra niya ipusta sa sugal. So with no choice, ang bayi is taken away from her familiar world, and then gidala siya sa beast na lugar, which is a palace, a snow-covered palace. And then so from a warm and familiar Italy, ni-shift siya nga to sa cold and strange place nga where like kayo ang atmosphere. So from the very beginning, she is already aware that she has been treated as property and not as a person jud. So meaning she understand nga ang iyang value sa iyang papa kay murag object ra dili as human, dili as anak. And then now let's proceed to the rising action. So here inside the Beast Palace, the heroine encounters a strange and unsettling environment. The place is filled with luxury and wealth, but it lacks warmth and emotional comfort. So, hindi siya tawon kay palasyo, pero murag siya way sulod. Nga na. Like, diba, for example, kung parang nagpuyo mo sa simple nga balay basta puno o kalipay gyagaw kung sa dako nga balay nga hilom kayo. And like, nga na nga concept. So, Diara, she then meets the beast who hides his true animal form. So, behind sa mask. So this emphasizes the theme of concealment and hidden identity. So meaning dili siya fully open sa iyang true self. So murag na siya gitago sa iyang nature. Tinood nga nature. So instead of treating her like an object of ownership, so the beast makes a very unusual request, which is to see her naked and offers her riches in exchange. So, malanta lang beast nga maghubo siya din. Wala. Isda na og kayamanan, char. So the heroine feels offended and humiliated. So by this demand and refuses at first. So natural kayo ang ma-feel niyang sulto kay objectify siya diri. Gimaltrato na ganun siya sa iyang papa, apil na ba dira. So as the time passes, she begins to observe the artificial nature of the household. And then this is especially shown through the mechanical maid who represents lifeless obedient and obedient femininity. So, murag ang maid kay simbolo nga sa babae nga walay voice or freedom. So, just to follow commands. So, gradually, her fare starts to shift into curiosity. So, nag-start na din siya question. She begins to questioning human values. So, her identity as human and the true nature of the beast. So, diri na siya nagsugod o reflect kung kinsa jud siya o unsa iyang tinud nga meaning sa freedom o identity. So she also notices that the beast, despite his frightening appearance, seems more vulnerable and sincere compared sa humans nga iyang mas nahibaw-an, mas naila. So mo ang twist kay ang beast murag mas tinuod pa og mas honest kaysa sa tawo nga iyang nakuan, nahablubila or mga nahibaw-an. And then now let's proceed to the climax. So the turning point of the story happens when the heroine finally makes a conscious decision to make control of her situation. So instead of pugson or like treated as an object, uh, she chooses to undress in front of the beast on her own terms, like iyang kagustuhan. So meaning siya mismo ang nagdesisyon, dili kay pinugos siya. So this moment is very important because it represents her rejection of shames and societal expectations. So they really challenge ang idea sa society about women. So about women, shame or control over the female body. So she's no longer acting out of fear, but out of personal choice and empowerment. So at the same time, the beast also reveals his true form. This creates a powerful moment of mutual honesty and exposure between them. So, lang duha, there are both of them, silang duha, are now naked, in a symbolic way. So wala na mascara or pretension, like hubo tanan. And then just truth and vulnerability ang naara nila. And then now let's proceed to the following action. So after this moment of a mutual vulnerability, the tension between them begins to soften. The beast does not harm or dominate her. Instead, he responds with gentleness and respect. Dili na siya threatening, kundi mas kalma and human ang trato niya sa babae. So the power dynamic between them starts to shift na dayon, and then the heroine gradually uh, let go of her fear and resistance. So from being controlled and punog kahadlok, nagkakaroon na siya ng sense of freedom and acceptance. So the atmosphere becomes less threatening and more intimate, suggesting a deeper emotional and symbolic connection between the two characters. Now let's proceed to the resolution. So in the end, the heroine undergoes a powerful physical and symbolic transformation. So as the beast licks her skin, her human exterior is gradually shed, and then revealing the more natural. So the animal like self beneath. So murag ginahubuan ba siya sa iyang tinud na like ba tao man siya, like nawala, like sa pag-explain na like for example human siya, nakatago siya sa iyang pagkatao, like mura bag his human self or vanished kundi na ilisdan, like his pretended self nga wala tapos na ilisdan niya og unsay tinuod jud siya, which is her true and instinctive nature. Nga na ba? So instead of the beast becoming more human, it is the heroine who transform sa story. Dito sa story, instead ang beast, di ba? Kasagaran sa, di ba, na-remember niyo sa Beauty and the Beast, di ba, ang ano, di ba, kiss man to, true love, di ba, na mo ang beast of tawa. So, diri, sa, kuan, the tiger's bride kay, dili. Ang babae is, paglik sa tiger, paglik sa beast, kay, siya may nahimong human. I mean, siya may nahimong tiger, dili ang beast nga nahimong human. So, this reversed the traditional fairy tale patterns where usually the beast turns into humans. Prince ko, no? So, dire ka, baliktaran ng naitabo. Ang babae ang nag-change, dili ang beast. And then, its ending symbolizes her liberations from societal expectations and constraints, meaning nakagawas na siya sa iyang tinood nga siya, and also the rules of the society kung unsa dapat ang babae, like being obedient, pure, or controlled. So, di na siya confined sa artificial rules imposed on her as a woman, kundi she embraces her true self. So, yeah, overall, the resolution shows transformation of that is both physical and symbolic. So, highlighting themes of identity, freedom, and breaking societal norms. Okay, now let's proceed to the theme of the story. So, here, transformation as liberation of the self. Kahit diri man God, the story suggests that true freedom can come through transformation. So both physically and emotionally. Pasabot ani, ini ang change sa persona dili lang outward kundi appeal na sa sulod nga pagbago sa iyang identity o mindset. And then the heroine transformations into more like animal-like form is not shown as something negative or lost. Instead, it is presented as a form of liberation, meaning dili siya nawala sa person, kundi mas nakita niya yung true freedom, true inga na ba something. So this challenges the traditional idea that being human and civilized is the highest or best form of existence sa society. Usually, gingon nga being civilized is superior pero dili. Gi-question na siya sa story. So instead, the story suggests that freedom can come from reconnecting with instinct, so desire, and one's nature self, while rejecting imposed identities and societal expectations. Mo ni ang pinaka core messages nga usahay ang kagawasan sa self kay makita kung imuha ng biyaan or like dili nimo panambalingon ang rules nga gi-impose sa society o mubalik ka sa imong authentic nature. Like ingon na ba, like you mind your own business, like you don't care kung unsay istorya sa palibot as long as wala kay gikuanan. So ingon ana. And then the second theme is the female empowerment through rejection of objection. So, a major idea in the story is the empowerment of a woman reclaiming control over her body and identity after being treated as property. So, sa sugod pa lang, makita na nato ang heroine, gitrato murag object ra, dili as person nga na own rights of decision. And then, she is literally gambled away by her brother, which clearly shows how women can be objectified within a patriarchal system. So, murag ang babae diri gi-consider as belonging or possession nga pwede ra ipusta is ibayad sugal o para gamiton para sugal, and then like you own it, and then lahi tag iya nga na ba. And then, however, as the story develops, she slowly begins to resist this treatment. So instead of remaining passive, she starts questioning her situation and eventually makes her choices. Tapos, dere na siya nagka-awareness nga naday siya power to decide for herself. And then, in the end, she reclaims, diba, her agency over her body. So, and also the identity and the future. So, siya na mismo ang nag-control sa iyang self. Dili na siya controlled by her father, society, or even expectation from others. So, yes, this theme highlights females' empowerment by showing that freedom is achieved when a woman rejects objectification and takes back control of her own identity and experience. And then the third one is critique of human society and constructed identity. So the story presents a strong contrast between civilized human society and the beast worlds in order to show that human behavior is often artificial, controlled, and shaped by social expectation. So sa simple nga pagsabot, gi-question sa story kung ang civilized bagyod ang kung civilized bagyod ang mga tao or mas artificial ba gani sila kaysa sa beast world nga na ba. So in human society, especially in the beginning of the story, we see greed, gambling, and objectification through the heroine's father. So makita diri ang human world dili kayo moral o pure kundi puno og selfishness and corruption. So on the other hand, the beast households we see symbol comments like the mechanical maid, diba? And also the mass beast. So these figures highlight how identity and femininity can be constructed for form or force. So ang mechanical maid kay murag represent siya sa babae nga gikontrol og walay freedom, while ang beast nga ay mas kay nagpakita siya og identity nga usahay itago or usahay i-perform ra. So through this contrast, Angela Carter suggests that what society considers normal or civilized may actually be more artificial than the natural instinct and desire. So meaning possible nga ang real or natural self makita pa dai sa instinct of freedom kaysa sa strict rules sa society. So this theme nag-challenge siya sa readers na nga to question social norms, identity, what is truly means to be a human. And now let's proceed to the conflict of the story. So here, man versus society. So the heroine is treated as property when her father gambles her away to the beast. So makita diri nga ang society sa story kay na ay patriarchal mindset kung asang babae mahimong object or position sa mga lalaki. Position ra sa lalaki. And then this show how women are objectified and have a little control over their own lives with that system. So pasabot ani ang society mismo ang naglimit sa freedom ug identity sa babae. So the second one is the man versus man. So there is a tension between the heroine and the beast, especially when he demands to see her naked in exchange of wealth, di ba? There makita ang conflict between two characters kay ay power struggles of discomfort sa ilang interaction. At first, the heroine feels offended and humiliated because she sees this request as objectification. Diba? So, naadari ang class between control, desire, and respect between the two characters. And then lastly is man versus self. So the heroine, the girl struggles deeply within herself as uh, the girl struggles deeply within herself as she deals with the fear, identity, and desire. So, diri, ang pinaka-internal nga conflict kay naglibog siya kung resist ba siya or ma-accept siya sa iyang situation of transformation. And then, she questions who she is and what freedom truly means. So, especially, she slowly changed uh, her perspective about the beast and herself. So, mo ni ang pinaka-importante pinaka-important conflict kay gikan siya sa iyang personal nga struggles. Mo-flow ang transformations sa story. And then, yes, this conflict shows the different levels of struggles in the story. So, from society to another characters and then within the self. And then next one is let's proceed to the symbolism of the story. So the first symbolism is the mask. So mura na ako nakita nga symbolism dito sa story. So the mask represents false appearances and hidden identity. So pasabot ani ang beast na gamit og mask para itago ang iyang tinud nga nature. So it suggests that what appears human is not always truly human, and what appears monstrous is not always truly evil. So, mo ni ang idea nga dili dapat magbase lang sa outward appearance kay mahimong lain di ay ang tinod nga pagkatao sa usa ka being. So, yes, the mask symbolizes identity and deception, showing that both humans and non-humans can hide their true selves behind appearances. Okay, now let's proceed to the irony of the story. So the first irony is the appearance versus reality. So sa story, the bears appears monstrous because of his animal-like form and intimidating presence. However, as the story nga nagdevelop, he is shown to be more respectful, gentle, and emotionally aware compared sa human characters. So, mao ni ang irony kay ang beast mas tinud pa day nga mo respeto kaysa sa mga tao. And then, on the other hand, humans, like the heroine's fathers, appear civilized on the outside, but they behave selfishly and cruelly. So, tinuod ang mga tao pa ang mas monstrous tungod sa ilahang actions like gambling their own daughter. Diba? So, the second irony is the role reversal. So, traditionally, fairy tales expect the human characters, the beauty, to remain fully human. So while the beast is supposed to transform into human prince, money ang usual expectations of fairy, diba? Tales nga, happy ending kay transformation of beast into human, diba? So however, in this story, the opposite happens. Yes, right? So the heroine gradually sheds her human identity while the beast does not fully become human or fully monstrous. So murag nabaliktad ang usual rules. So which challenges the traditional expectations sa readers. So this reversal emphasizes the story's postmodern and feminist ideas, showing that identity is not fixed and can change beyond traditional rules and expectation. Okay, now let's proceed to the point of view of the story. So, the story is told using a first person point of view. It is narrated by the unnamed female protagonist, the daughter, who uses the pronoun I, meaning siya mismo ang nagsulti sa story gikan sa iyang personal experiences. So because of this, everything in the story is filtered through her thoughts, emotions, and understanding. So the reader only knows what she sees, feels, and experiences as the events unfold. So dili tama kita sa thoughts sa ubang characters directly. So limited ra ang ato ang perspective to her point of view. And also, this point of view makes the stories more personal and intimate, so allowing readers to deeply understand her fear, confusion, and transformation. So, murag yun ta og kauban sa iyang journey because we are seeing everything through her eyes. Charot lang. So, that ends my report, and thank you. Bye-bye.